Awesome. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about this notion that I hear all the time, as I was saying, that I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to do the things that I know I need to do to make better choices. Too lazy to cook a healthy meal. Too lazy to plan out my meals for the week. Too lazy to, I don't know, whatever I hear people say this all the time. And it breaks my heart because A, it's just a horrible thing to say to yourself. And B, I know it's not true. I'm Sarah Best. If this is your first time catching one of my videos, my name is Sarah Best, and I am a registered holistic nutritionist. But people like to joke that I am the nutritionist who never talks about food, which is kind of funny, but it's also true. I don't talk about food. I don't share meal plans. I don't post recipes. In fact, I joke on Instagram that when people ask me for the recipe for what I'm making, don't bother because I really don't have the recipe. And why is that? Why am I the nutritionist who never talks about food? Well, it's because what I came to realize about my own personal struggles with food, which were numerous, a lot of binge eating, emotional eating, hiding food, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. When I put that together with what I saw my clients doing, which was doing really well all day and then falling off track at night, being really motivated and excited to start a new plan and then doing it for a few days and then going right back to their old habits. I started to put those two together and I realized, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with the food, right? Like we all know what we should be eating and not eating for the most part, right? We know we should be eating more fruits and veggies, whole foods. We know we should be avoiding junk food, fast food, processed food. We know that. You know that. The big question is, why is it so hard to do it consistently? Why do we keep taking one step forward and two steps back? Why do we constantly sabotage ourselves? That to me is the biggest question. And so once I had that light bulb moment, I became obsessed with learning everything I could about neuroscience, food psychology, how habits are formed in the brain, the connection between thoughts and feelings and food choices, and how we can change that, and how we can start working with our brain's natural wiring rather than against it so that the healthy choices start to feel easier. So now that's what I do. And that's why people joke that I'm the nutritionist who never talks about food, because while I am still a nutritionist, I don't talk about food. I don't talk about what you're eating. I don't share meal plans. I don't create recipes or any of those things. I talk about how you can start working with your brain's natural wiring rather than against it, which is what dieting does, which is what deprivation does, which is what so many of the approaches we've been taught does. And instead start working with the way your brain already works so that making the healthy choices and staying motivated starts to feel a lot easier. Sound good? Okay. So this week I want to dive into this notion that people say they're too lazy. They say they don't have the motivation, right? This is something I hear people struggle with all the time, and I totally get it. I was 1000% there myself. So I want to share with you two secrets I have discovered for how you can really boost your motivation, how you can get to a place where it feels a lot easier to stay on track. First, I want to burst this bubble. I want to get rid of this idea that you're too lazy, okay? Because what I know is that dieters, people who are really committed to, really struggling to, really want to make better choices, live a healthier lifestyle, take care of themselves, those people are some of the most committed people I have ever met on the planet. I'll give you an example. Sometimes I have a private Facebook group called Conquer the Food Fight. You're welcome to join. If you're not a member already, go search for Conquer the Food Fight on Facebook and come join us. It's a great community of people who are all on the same journey, working to change the way their brains actually think about food. Often I will go into the group and I will just ask people, what is the craziest thing you've ever done to try to lose weight, right? Because we've all done a lot of crazy things. I went through a phase in high school where I ate nothing but apples. But some people have done some crazy stuff. And the lists are not only heartbreaking, but astonishing, right? Like, first of all, I'll get hundreds of comments. I mean, the comments are more than I could even often read. But things like cabbage soup diet, baked potato diet, eating nothing but nuts, juice cleanses, enemas, amphetamines, diet pills, green coffee beans. And I will never forget one woman who wrote that she once would eat cotton balls soaked in orange tang. Do you remember orange tang? It was like that orange drink. Maybe it's still around. She would soak cotton balls in orange tang and swallow them so that she would feel full, but not have the calories or the fat, right? So people who will go to these extremes, who will do these things to themselves, those are not lazy people. That is not a lazy person. If you are someone who has tried every diet out there, been on programs, off programs, joined every gym, tried every class, bought every DVD, bought every book, clicked on every article, like, you are not lazy. You are dedicated and committed and all in. All right. The only problem is you are going at this in a way that butts against the way our brains are naturally wired. And that is why we keep failing. Right. And so my approach is all about coming at this a little bit differently, working with your brain's natural ingrained wiring instead of against it, so that it doesn't feel like we're on this constant tug of war where we're constantly doing one step forward, two steps back, all this self-sabotage, so that we get on the same page as our brain, or we bring our brain onto the same page as us, and we can go forward in a way that feels natural, automatic, feels like a non-issue, right? Makes a big difference, like makes all the difference, I'm telling you. So let's talk about two ways that we can do that. Two ways that we can, I really think, are like the two secrets to maximizing your motivation and really flipping that switch in terms of motivation. One is having a vision. And what I mean by that is like knowing where you're going, knowing why you're doing this. I want to lose 20 pounds is not a vision. What I mean by a vision is like having an idea of what it will look like, and more importantly, what it will feel like, how your life will change, what you will be able to do, who you will be if you stay on track and get to the quote unquote finish line. Not that there is one, but you know what I mean, right? Imagine if you checked all the boxes, you did all the things you were supposed to do, you were good, right? You did everything right. What does the end look like? This is something that we don't spend a lot of time thinking about, right? We spend a lot of time thinking about where we don't want to be. I don't want to weigh so much. I don't want to have no energy. I don't want to feel like it's so hard. I don't want to feel like food is running my life. I don't want to feel like I have no control. Don't want to feel like I have no willpower. Don't want to feel like I'm failing all the time. But simply the absence, I want you to hear this, simply the absence of the pain you're in now is not a vision. Okay. You have to spend some time, and this takes some time. You're not going to know this right now while I'm talking, but I want you to take away from this video. I want you to go away and think about, journal is a great, write it down. This is my universal symbol for writing. A great way to do this. Just start writing stuff. Like it doesn't have to look nice. You don't have to share it with anybody. It can just be stream of consciousness gobbledygook. It's fine. Start writing down things, even if it's just words that represent what you want, who you want to be, what you want to be able to do. You know, like what would you want? One of the tools I give to a lot of my students is to rewrite a situation that you currently feel very frustrated in often, whether it's nighttime, out at a restaurant, at a party. Rewrite that and literally write it like a story, the way you would want it to go, right? And write it in the present tense. So I come home from work, and even though I've had a busy day, and my daughter made cookies and they're out on the counter, I don't feel drawn to them. What I really want and what I know my body needs is to have a nice balanced meal, get into my sweats, curl up with a good book and a nice cup of herbal tea, and just let the stress dissolve away from my body. The food has no power over me. I don't feel compelled to eat it. I know that it will make me feel worse, and so it's not attractive. And instead, I enjoy my beautiful, relaxing evening. on my terms in a way that feels fantastic, right? Like that's just my example, just off the cuff, but you sit down and write down, what would success really look like for you? What is that vision? And this is why, because when you spend some time, and again, this takes some time, but when you spend some time cultivating, creating, crafting that vision so that it's so vivid, it's almost like a movie in your mind. When you have that, that becomes such a strong tool for you. Because then when you're in the situation where those cookies are on the counter, instead of the choice being, really want the cookie, but don't have the cookie. Really want the cookie, don't have the cookie, right? Which is what so many of us are doing, working against the way our brains are wired, fail every time. Instead of doing that, make the choice between cookie, yes, still delicious, or making a choice that brings you closer to that clear and compelling and amazingly juicy, fantastic vision that you have for yourself. Suddenly the cookie loses some of its power, right? Suddenly you've stacked the deck a little bit more in your favor. This is the power of a vision and the power of visualization, something I teach a lot of inside my Change Your Brain, Change Your Body flagship program. We do a whole module on visualization, and I work my students through how you exactly create a vision and work on the practice of visualization. But this is something you can start on your own right now. So that's the first thing. Have a clear vision. That is going to give you so much more motivation when you find yourself in that position. Okay? Number two, first is vision. Number two, mood follows action. Do you hear that? Mood follows action. So often people are waiting to feel like they want to feel motivated, and then they're going to make a good choice, right? So they're waiting for the feeling, they're waiting for the mood, and then they're going to act. But mood follows action, meaning action has to come first. So this is how you do that, right? So you're not going to just sit around suddenly feeling motivated to plan out your meals for the week. Nobody feels like that on a Sunday. Well, maybe I do sometimes because I really enjoy it. But for the most part, you'd rather sit on the couch playing Candy Crush, right? You've had a long week. This is your Sunday. So if you just wait until you're in the mood to do it, to act, it's never going to happen. Instead, the way your brain works is that mood follows action. Action has to come first. Now, again, easier said than done because you're like, but I'm not in the mood. How do I do that? Okay, so break it down. Do just the first 30 seconds of whatever action you want to take. Now, this might sound ridiculous, but stick with me. Say we're talking about meal planning for the week, which I think is a very important practice and that I do myself every week. I sit down on Sunday, mostly I just plan dinners because I kind of have the same breakfast and lunch every day or similar. But dinners are tricky because I got teenagers, I got husband, we've got stuff going on, so I have to plan out the meals for dinner. Otherwise we will end up at 5 o'clock saying what's for dinner and it won't be a good answer. So on Sunday, you don't feel like meal planning, but it's important. Mood follows action. So get up and just tell yourself, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to meal prep for 30 seconds, right? And what can you do in 30 seconds? Well, you can probably get out a piece of paper and a pen, and you can probably write down on the paper Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? That might have taken you 30 seconds. Maybe you could also grab your phone and pull up your calendar so you can kind of see where are the busy nights and when are the open nights. 30 seconds, right? So that's all you had to do. That feels far less overwhelming than planning your meals for the whole week, which when you were on the couch playing Candy Crush did not feel attractive. But 30 seconds of meal planning, you can do that, right? Doesn't feel so hard. So 30 seconds, you can take out that piece of paper, find a pen, write down the days of the week, and take out your phone and click on the calendar icon. You can do that in 30 seconds. But what's happened now is mood follows action. Now you're doing it, right? Now you've got some stuff going on. Things are happening. You've acted. And now you're starting to have ideas about, oh, well, Tuesday's open. Maybe we have no plans on Tuesday night. Maybe I could make a new recipe on Tuesday. Maybe I should go grab a cookbook and see if there's something new I want to try. Or maybe I should check out a website that I like with great recipes and pick one for Tuesday night. And, I see that Thursday is super busy. We've got hockey or soccer or choir or whatever. So I'm probably going to want leftovers on Thursday. So what can I make on Wednesday that we could have for leftovers, right? Now you've got the ball rolling. It's all about getting the ball rolling. Mood follows action. Okay. So you have to act, but you don't have to wrap your head around doing the whole thing to act. You can just do 30 seconds of it. This can be the same for like going for a walk or something, right? Like, I know I should get out and move my body, but I'm so comfy right here. I do not want to, the idea of going out for an hour-long walk is so not going to happen. But you can't sit around waiting for mood to strike. You have to act. Mood follows action. So decide, this sounds ridiculous, but decide you're going to go for a 30-second walk, or do whatever you can do to get ready for the walk in 30 seconds. So maybe that just means in 30 seconds, you could get up, put on, change out of your sweatpants into some jeans or something, outdoor apparel, and put on your running shoes. 30 seconds, right? Now, if that's all you want to do, fine. Take it all off and go back to the couch. That's okay. But more likely, because you've started the action, now you'll be like, oh, I'll open the door. Let's see what it's like out there. And now you're doing it. Now you're going for a walk, right? Now it doesn't feel so hard. So remember that mood follows action. This is a great way to get yourself motivated to make better choices, right? And again, you can even do this nighttime snacking, right? Something that so many people struggle with. Often I have tricked myself into, so I'm sitting on the couch, so want the potato chips, right? I know they're up there. I know they're upstairs in the cupboard. Really want the potato chips. Really need the motivation to stay on track, right? So what I will do instead is I will decide that I'll do 30 seconds of preparing a healthy snack. So, and then if I still want the potato chips, I'll eat them. But I commit to 30 seconds of the healthier choice. So I go upstairs to the kitchen, I get out a plate, I take an apple out of the fruit bowl, I wash the apple, and I start cutting it. That's about 30 seconds. Now, the apple actually smells pretty good. It looks pretty good. It's really crunchy, juicy. I could get some almond butter, put it with it. It's actually not so bad, right? Like, potato chips are still lovely, but now the apple actually seems pretty good. So the mood, the motivation follows the action. All right. So think about how you can break down the healthy habits, healthy behaviors you want to do into just the first 30 seconds. Okay. And you'll be amazed at how much motivation springs out of that. Mood follows action. Okay. So those are my 2 secrets for you for increasing your motivation. 1, have a vision, know where you're going. That's going to stack the deck more in your favor and boost that motivation for you, because now you have something that you're really moving towards instead of just don't eat the thing, right? That's not motivating. And second, mood follows action. So what's the smallest action you can take to just get yourself started? And then you will find the motivation flows from there. All right. I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to try this, what you think. I can't wait to see if this is useful for you. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.